there are many parallels and there are many differences. So I gave you one example of the traditional Indian view of why certain things should be done. May arrive at similar conclusions, but they came from different line of thought. For example, I'll give you Kautilya's view on limiting the state would have come from the idea of corruption, about if you squeeze it too much, you will get rebellion. That was the way he came from. Whereas the Anglo-Saxon, or more widely the Western view, comes from ideas of freedom. Now, when you apply these in certain situations, you may get somewhat different or entirely different outcomes. And I'll give you some examples taking modern times. Let's take, for example, the idea of maybe prohibition. Okay. Kautilya's view would be that prohibition is a bad idea. And in fact, he does write about it. That he argued that the king should not interfere with people and their daily lives. He does mention this. That's why prohibition should be not done. And of course, he would have argued that any such thing as prohibition would ultimately lead to some sort of corruption, of which he was always very suspicious. So you see Kautilya, he always argues for regulation of things that he considers as bads. Western conception of this would have been, you have to allow everything as long as it doesn't interfere with another person's freedom. You should be allowed that as a general matter of principle. So this is totally different. You may arrive at the same idea. Kautilya would agree with the Western view that prohibition, so regulation is better than prohibition, of alcohol anyway, because as a general principle, he would argue that prohibition may be a bad idea, but they would come to it from different views. Ashoka, on the other hand, would have a very different view. Ashoka's view would always be that I, as king, know what is good for you. So the Ashokan view would be, if I don't know whether he was in favor of prohibition of alcohol or not, but the Ashokan view, if the Ashoka on a principle basis would not have a problem with prohibiting things he considered bad, because the state or the king as father to the people knows best. So this is a very different thing. Kautilya, on the other hand, would have said, no, that's not, he would have looked on it with great suspicion. So there are very different, and you can apply this in a different area. You would again come to similar differences in outcome. So yes, but clearly what you will get with an Ashokan state ultimately is a weak but all-pervasive state, which is what the Nehruvian state became. And not surprisingly, because Nehru explicitly promoted Ashoka as his ideal. And it's not surprising because that is precisely what he was aiming for, a weak but all-pervasive state.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.